This episode is brought to you by Opill, the first over-the-counter daily birth control pill available in the U.S. Opill is FDA approved, full prescription strength and estrogen-free. Plus, there's no prescription needed. Finally, the days of needing a prescription for birth control are over. Opill is available online and at most major retailers. Take control of your health and reproductive journey with Opill. Birth control in your control. Use code BIRTHCONTROL for 25% off your first month of Opill at Opill.com.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Right, welcome to what is actually week 2 of the season in the Premier Leagues and our second week's review. We've got a bit more work to do this week here. Instead of just the 4 leagues that we had to wander around last week, I think we've got about 15 to have a look around, and we can't go quite as in depth, but we're going to have a look at all the best stuff around the leagues, like you.
Well, there's quite a lot of cricket happened, actually, which was nice. Weather did its best most of the week to stay bloody freezing and largely dry, wasn't it? So there was a surprising amount of cricket played. Not too many games called off, which was nice.
Yeah, it was quite strange, actually. It was bloody freezing. There's no two ways about it. I was at Swarkston and it was freezing, absolutely brassic to say the least. But we'll come to what Ben Hutchinson did there, I'm sure, at some point.
There's a reason I'm a wicketkeeper this time of year. I had 3 layers on, my inners on, my gloves on. I didn't have thermals on. I wasn't quite that bad, but I was nice and snug, whereas everyone else, shivering away. There's a few people trying to blag my jumper, but that wasn't happening.
That's about right. We'll come to your wicketkeeper in a second, but also join us today from Barnard Castle, we've got James Quinn. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Ian. How are you? My body's a bit sore after 2 games of cricket this weekend, but pulling through.
I'm sure there's a lot of WhatsApp groups around clubs with exactly those words over the last couple of days.
Yeah, I think our WhatsApp was pinging this morning, just a few lads struggling to get out of bed and get to the day job. So yeah, all good to be back.
Stairs. I always have a problem with stairs. That's my go particularly going down them. It's just like, oh, that's aching. That's called
old wicket-keeper's knees.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Definitely. Hey, let's just, before we get stuck into the Premier League and all the performances that's been going around the country, I've got to point out, you caught a couple of the weekend you keeping, but one of the best performances around. It's not Premier League, but I've got to still bring up Jack Redfern, 6 for 6.
Yeah, well, the wicket, I mean, they put us in, and actually it rained a little bit, sort of 3/4 of the way through our innings, and it just softened it up a bit, so the ball just started to dig in, and Jack, he's a tall lad, and he was just getting it to spit, and then the odd one went straight through. It was hard to bat on, really hard to bat on. So, yeah. But I got a grumble at that one that I didn't catch. I dove forward, got the ball, and it dribbled out of my hand, rolled up my arms, and I caught it with in between my elbows. So, yeah, that was the second catch of the season. I'll take that. But, yeah, get the VAR on that one, but I'm pretty certain I caught it.
Anyone who's bowling 9 overs and taking 6 for 6, it doesn't matter what league they are in. Well done, Jack Redfern. Give you a quick mention there.
I think he was powered by his dad's sandwiches. He asked his dad for a ham and cheese sandwich, and his dad made him a ham sandwich and a cheese sandwich, not a ham and cheese sandwich. So, yeah, so you know his dad. So
yes, well done, Andrew, is all I'll say. Definitely. So, let's quickly ask James. Your weekend went well on Saturday, I think, mate, didn't it? You got off to a winning start?
Yeah, we got off to a winning start. We hosted Bishop Auckland, first game of the season. And, we actually played them first game last year and we're on the wrong side of the result. But this this week. Yeah, we restricted them to, I think it was around 160, and we knocked them off 5 down in middle way through the 35th, 36th over. So yeah, it was a good weekend. And obviously we had a national prelim match yesterday against Sesse, another win. So yeah, it was a perfect weekend, really. 2 wins, and batter's got time in the middle and bowler's got overs under the belt. Got to ask, what was the temperature at Barnard Castle on Saturday? Oh, it was about 5 degrees, absolutely Baltic. But yeah, we had our absolute stalwart fans still supporting us. But yeah, I wouldn't mind it getting warmer, another couple of degrees, I reckon. Well, I've chosen this evening to step in and look after our under-11s at our club. And I looked at the weather for the rest of the week and thought, why can't it be any other night other than tonight, please? You just don't want to be doing it. Definitely. Hey, let's get stuck into the weekend, Hugh. And let's start. I think there's only one place to start. And it's not a million miles from Barnard Castle. Stuart Pointer, highest score of the weekend in any Premier League in the country. And I'm going to put it out there right now. I don't think it'll be beaten all season.
Well, I just want to know who's looking after that pitch. I mean, goodness me, 247 runs at a strike rate of 199, batting at 5. I mean, everyone else is scratching around left, right and centre. And then Stuart Pointer comes out and biffs that. I mean, he's got a lot of cricket experience. He's a wonderful player, but wow. So yeah, and it was a promoted side as well. It was against Tynedale, who I think were newly promoted into the league last year. So that's an absolute baptism of fire for them. 435 Burnmore bowled them out for 144. So, but yeah, I mean, good on the groundsman. I think that's all we can say.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to ask the question, haven't you, James? Will we see more than 435 scored in any Premier League game in the country this year? I mean, that's mad, isn't it? Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I think WhatsApp. So one of the lads put the Play Cricket link on Saturday night to it, and we were just like, yeah, firstly, how they got a wicket that good in April with all the wet weather, and yeah, he's obviously a good player, Stuart Pointer, and I don't think it will be beaten this year. Fair play to him.
There was 200s in the game as well, so it wasn't just him that was able to get in and go big. There was Marcus Brown also with 101 off 110. So it obviously was a great wicket. Hopefully Tynedale won't be too shocked by that and will be able to bounce back.
Now elsewhere in the top scorers, there's some names there that'll be very familiar to one or two people. Who've you spotted in particular there, Hugh?
Well, it's Josh Cobb again, back-to-back hundreds. I mean, let's see how many he can put together. He's obviously off to a cracking start.
He's on a roll.
Yeah, really, really good start. And then there's Will Frayne at York as well, 149. That's a great knock there. So there's some big scores come in.
That was a big partnership with Braden Shaper, who again scored big runs again year in, year out.
Yeah, he's a quality player. So York looking strong.
And then in your league, James, come on, tell us, North Yorkshire and South Durham League. It's quite a spread, your league, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So you've got the likes of ourselves at Barnard Castle and Richmond Shire over that way, and then it goes over to Teesside. So you've got the likes of Middlesbrough, Stokesley, right on the west coast, basically. Saltburn, Whitby, who are in Division 1. So yeah, there's a bit of travelling. You're talking anywhere between half an hour to an hour and 20 for games. But yeah, some nice away trips.
Yeah, Jack Armand caught my eye last year. I assume he's still going this year. Saltburn bowl. He just seemed to just be able to take wickets for giving away virtually no runs. He struggled, not struggled, but his stats early season were absolutely fantastic, and they sort of went back to the mean a little bit later in the season. What's he like to play against?
Yeah, he's a really good bowler, especially last year at Saltburn. The pitches are more seamer friendly, and he's keeper up to the stumps, and he just hits the seam a bit both ways. But he had an exceptional season. I'm pretty sure he finished in the top 10 in all the Premier Leagues, didn't he, in the bowling average?
He's right up there, yeah, right up there.
And that just shows why Saltburn won the league. Him, Liam Crooks, and the spinners did the job, really. I don't think there was many big scores at Saltburn, and they managed to either restrict sides or bowl sides out.
I think they were the lowest scoring Premier League champions in the country last year by just keeping those scores right down.
Fair play to them. And I have no doubt this year they've got a similar bowling attack, and I think they're bolstered slightly, so they'll be right up there again. I have no doubt this year they've got a...
What else has been happening in the league in terms of movers around the league, James? Has there been much movement in terms of new players coming in?
Yeah, so there has been some movement. So yeah, staying on defending champion Saltburn, they've signed ex-pro, overseas pro Hassan Bakari from Thornaby, Pakistani pro, leg spinner, he'll bat top 4. He's a really good signing for them. They'll be strong again. ourselves, we've signed well. We've signed Eddie Barnes, formerly of Leicestershire, played for Yorkshire, Derbyshire as well. So he's a good signing for us. And our overseas pro, Sean Whitehead's coming in from South Africa this week. So yeah, left arm spinner, top order bat will be, hoping will be really competitive this year. Other news from around the league, probably the big one is Richmondshire. They've signed back the Afghan spinner Shaf Ghaffari. He was a couple of years ago and took, I'm sure it was 60 or 70 wickets. Yeah. And they've also signed a young left-arm spinner, Caleb Bradford, from, I think, is it Longbridge? And 60-plus wickets past 2 years for them. Played some Lancashire second-team cricket. That's a notable signing and a young player to look out for the season. Other than that, yeah, some signings have gone to Downton RA. Matt Pillins from Harrogate, he's gone to Downton RA. Signed Upal Indasiri, which is a Sri Lankan overseas pro. So they've signed quite well. Leaving Darlow RA, going to Stockton's Adam Hickey and Tom Hewison. They'll bolster Stockton. So yeah, there's been plenty of movement, plenty of WhatsApp messages flying about, seeing who goes where. So in the coming weeks, we'll see who looks strong and who doesn't. And
I think you mentioned already, there's been, I've noticed this around the country from a lot of clubs, some very late arrivals of pro this year, if not there until week 2, 3, even 4 for some cases. Is that the case in your league as well?
Yeah, that's exactly the same. Yeah, there's a few South African pros coming over, and I think they've had a T20 competition that's just finished the past week. So that's why ours is a week late. And then, yeah, a couple of the Pakistani pros haven't arrived yet. So it is what it is. It's part and parcel of it. They sometimes arrive late, sometimes go home early. And it's just about having that strength and depth in your squad to challenge when they're not there.
You've got to ask, you said you've got a slow left armour coming over for yourself, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, slow left armour. We've already got Carl Carver, who, in my opinion, is probably one of the best English pros, certainly in the Durham and Yorkshire area. So Sean and Carl falling together this year could be really exciting for us. I personally think spinners win your leagues. They take the majority of the wicket. Yeah, excited to get them over.
And was that so that you went after another slow left armour, or was it just that he hit all the boxes for you?
No, yeah, we were fairly open.
Because you had one already.
Exactly, yeah. So we were fairly open. Obviously, the opportunity came along with Eddie Barnes, who's quick opening bowler. So we went and said, yeah, we really want to get another second spinner to complement Carl. So he ticked all the boxes and, yeah, we'll be fairly strong this year, I think.
Let's have a look at those bowlers then across the country then last weekend. I think we've got a few slow left armers in there. Surprise, Hugh, haven't we?
Well, unsurprisingly, yeah. It's James Hale did well, great witching him. However, not off to the start that they probably would like, considering the big name signings that they've brought in. But he got 4 wickets. Sam Wood at the top. That's of the total so far in his 2 games. He's got 8 wickets, and Vinod Pereira 8 wickets in his 2 games. But the highlights for me last week: Bobby Windsor at Southport and Birkdale, 752 versus Birkenhead. So that's a real top performance there in the Liverpool comp.
It is. And Birkenhead Park are one of the teams that are obviously fancied by Tom Evans when we spoke to him, but also a number of other people around Merseyside. And Josh Glover, 6 for 13 for Sawley.
I've got him as a right arm spinner, actually.
I'll have to check out. He interviewed him 4 weeks ago. I should know that by now, shouldn't I?
Well, check that. Yeah, I've got him as a right arm. Well, it might have the wrong video. But I think we had Sami Patel 2 wickets for Cutthorpe, but he only got 4 runs. And I want a little annoyance here. Frog Box, lots of these Frog Box videos dropping up. They always seem to miss the wicket and get the celebration. I don't know whether that's set up. It's like, we don't care about the wicket. We just want to see what the lads did after we got him out. But yeah, so there's a nice Frog Box video of Sam Patel trudging off and some delirious celebration there. But yeah, not what you want.
From what I understand, it's the way you set it up for how far back it does the recording. So if you only have it set up for a certain number of seconds and you're too slow to press the wicket button, guess what? You miss it, you get the celebration.
There we go. But yeah, so we got Sawley and Belper both winning in the Derbyshire League after coming up, which was good for them. So yeah, top start there.
Definitely. And I think, I've got to mention Ben Hutchinson again. I took a little drive out to Swarkston, one of the closest Premier League clubs to where I live, just to have a little rock out on Saturday afternoon. Saw the first couple of hours over there, and Ben Hutchinson for Swarkston was literally swinging it it was banana balls. There's no two ways about it. Dunstall, I think they fancied themselves at the weekend to go and do some damage over at Swarkton. We've had a lot of changes over there over the winter, but Ben was bowling absolutely outstandingly from the very start. And to be honest, it was more of a surprise how long he took to get his 5th wicket, the amount of plays and misses there go. But it was an interesting result in the end. Swarkton won, but Dunstall did push them on a little bit because Tom Hill, the captain, got runs that, lower down the order. You're always going to want someone lower down the order getting runs just when you're in a bit of trouble. And but Ben did come back, and he is in our top performances when it comes to all-rounders later as well, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's right at the top. 56 not out and 514. Doesn't get much better than that, really, does it? And it's 56 off 31 as well. So, match-winning performance from him. If he can stay strong, then Swarkson, who's been a lot of change there, it's whether they can, keep that team together and keep on winning after doing so well last year. So
yeah, definitely. What about in your league then, James? What sort of youngsters are coming through in your league that we can keep an eye out for?
Yeah, there's a few youngsters at Hartlepool. They've got a couple of lads who are signed for Durham and Yorkshire too. So Johnny Bushnell is a name you'll have seen he's played a couple of first-class games. He's an exciting prospect. Yash Bidari, I think it is. He plays for Yorkshire seconds. Yeah, sure. He goes out really positive, takes the bowling on. So there are a couple of youngsters. Obviously, one I've already mentioned is Caleb Bradford, who signed for Richmondshire. I think he's only 19. He'll be exciting to watch. And then, a lad from our club, Finn Usher, that's top of the order. He's just come back from playing in Victoria for Elstonwick. He's someone to keep an eye out on. Opens the batting, bowls some handy right arm off spin. So, there's a lot of teams in our league that they've got settled squads with lads probably who have played quite a few years of Premier League cricket. So they are one or two youngsters to keep an eye out on, though. But there's a lot of settled squads in our league at the moment.
Well, these are all names that after every recording I literally make a note of, and then we just keep an eye out for them week in, week out, because we want to see those youngsters come through. Premier League cricket's not what it used to be. I'm going to say 15 years ago. It's a young man's game now, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, the teams that do well often have that core of homegrown talent that are the ones that have come through the ranks. And that's what it should be all about. If you can get a couple of pros in and then young lads can learn off them, I think that is what it's all about, trying to get them young homegrown talent, show them what they can do week in, week out.
And how strong is the junior setup around your league as far as, I'm sure you know yours inside out, but generally you're seeing a really strong junior setup around the league to bring those kids through?
Yeah, no, one of our big points in the NYSD is, we always have really good, like under 15s, under 17s league representative sides, and that just shows that all the clubs in and around the area are pushing to get the juniors through the door, and as soon as possible when them good talents are ready, we do see the likes of 16, 17-year-olds playing Premier League cricket and just giving them exposure to senior cricket. It's really good. It has been strong ever since I've known it. Looks to be continuing that way, really.
Oh, such a clutch off-season pickup, Dave.
I was worried we'd bring back the same team.
I meant those blackout motorized shades.
Blinds.com made it crazy affordable to replace our old blinds.
Hard to install?
No, it's easy. I installed these and then got some for my mom. She talked to a design consultant for free and scheduled a professional measure and install.
Hall of Fame son.
They're the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings in the world.
Blinds.com is the GOAT.
Shop Blinds.com's primetime kickoff event. Save up to 50% off select styles, plus doorbusters. Rules and restrictions may apply.
We're just going to look at some of the performers of the week now with Matt Taff from CricX, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Ian, yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks. Let's have a look. Who have you got to highlight from your gang as such that we can look at?
Yeah, so it's been pretty short, like you say, with professionals not arriving yet. They're due to probably arrive this coming week, and fixtures being called off, and so we've only got a small crop of players to pick from for this weekend's performances. So we've got Dikel De Silva with 92 not out for Great Harwood against Accrington. He scored plenty of runs and taken plenty of wickets for them over the previous seasons. And then from looking at the bowlers, we've got a 6 for Vinu Pereira for Lutterworth, 6 for 32 there, and then just a couple of knocking about with a couple of 4s, 50s for a few batsmen. Probably expect a few more performances this week when everyone arrives and gets stuck into club cricket.
Scoring's been very tough, hasn't it? And just looking at stats overall of all the leagues, there's very few people scoring above 50, anything above 50 at this time of year, despite the 247 from Stuart Pointer, has been very difficult. But yeah, it's be interesting to see. I think the forecast this week's looking pretty good. Let things settle down. Hopefully pitches weren't ruined on Sunday. And I think in the west of the country dodged most of that. So hopefully we'll see some better wickets next week and those scores will go up. We
did have a nice 6 for there, Matt, in the North Yorkshire South Durham Premier League from Mohammed Asghar at Middlesbrough. He's a bowler you'll know, James, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was top of the leading wicket takers charts last year. Shock once again, left arm spinner. I think it's a cheat code, isn't it? If you're a left arm spinner, you're guaranteed 40 league wickets minimum. But no, he's a really handy operator. Obviously, he's played a lot of first class cricket in Pakistan. Suits Middlesbrough's wicket. So yeah, no doubt you'll see him at the top of the chart again this year. Or definitely top 5. I would, in my opinion, I would say.
Most definitely. What we're going to do every week, we're going to look at the performances of the week from around the country. We're going to put 3 or 4 on a poll out on our Twitter feed for followers and listeners to the pod to choose the Cricket performance of the week. And we'll have a look at our Twitter probably Tuesday morning. It'll probably be on there, not long after we've actually published this. You're probably listening to it thinking, God, what's he going on about again? But it'll be on there on the Twitter feed. We'll put 3 or 4 on there, and let's find out who's going to be the Cricket performer of the week. Let's have a look at North Yorkshire, South Durham's. What best way to describe it, James, the shockers. Who's going to cause 1 or 2 shocks in the league this year for you?
Yeah, I think Dalton RA, because they've signed quite a few experienced ex-pros, I think they could cause an upset on the day. Whether they're consistent, that's another thing. But I do think if they turn up on their day, they will cause a few upsets. Also, some of the newcomers. So Nornby Hall got promoted from Div 1 last year. They're well suited to their ground, and they've signed a Pakistani pro who's played Test match cricket. So anyone with someone like that, he's a match winner on the day, so they may be able to cause a few upsets. But Dalton RA, I reckon. Hartlepool's another one. They'll be hot and cold depending on availability. They've lost Paul Braithwaite, who was their talisman. He's got a job down in Somerset, I believe. But rumour has it yesterday that they're flying him back up most weekends. So if he does play every week and Johnny Bushnell, Yash play, expect to see Hartlepool not cause upsets because they're a good side, but they'll be right up there again.
Okay, so we've heard of players being driven quite a long way for games. We've never heard of them being flown in yet, have we, Hugh?
The airports around there normally choppering in people from on transfer deadline day, aren't they? Funny times of year. But Tino Aspria being chopped in back in the day. But it's an interesting one. There's a few taxi firms doing quite well, but I'm yet to hear of an airline doing well out of Premier League cricket.
Yeah, we'll be watching for that name popping up on the Hartlepool scorecard all of a sudden now, won't we?
Yeah, no, he's their talisman. He's one of the better players in the league for the past couple of years, Paul. And if it is true and they're flying out, someone said, Bristol and Newcastle every weekend. So fair play if they do. That'll be a big boost for Hartlepool. Yeah.
Interesting. But you could see the top 4 of yourselves, Hartlepool, Richmondshire and Saltburn. You're going to be battling it right throughout the season, but you could also see a couple of others making 1 or 2 surprises then by the sounds of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously Middlesbrough will be there. They had a good start this weekend, like we say, with Mohammed Asghar being the top wicket taker, and then the evergreen James Law. I think he scored 100 this weekend as well. So expect to see Middlesbrough right there. There's a few other sides that could creep into it, like say the 2 Darlington sides, Dalton RA and Darlington Cricket Club. So yeah, I would say anyone of 6 or 7 teams could be really competitive this year.
And dare we press you for the most important thing of every podcast preview that we've done? Prediction. Who's going to win it?
Yeah, I'd have to back our lads. We're here to compete, and we'll be wanting to win Premier League, Cups, have a run in the National. That's what it's all about. We've signed well, so we're confident we can be there come end of August, early September.
And how important are those Nationals to you?
Massive, yeah. I think our neighbours, Richmondshire, who've had the better over us over the past couple of years, just to see they've obviously won it previously and last year made it to the semi-finals. It's massive for the club. You get days out, you get loads of people watching, loads of money behind the bar. It's a massive buzz for the club, and a small town like Barnard Castle, it's huge. Yeah, we've had a little taste of in the 2020s. We made it to the final a couple of years ago against Tunbridge Wells. So, we want to have another run in one of the national comps for sure.
That's brilliant. I must admit, we look at the national comps and neither me or Hugh have been involved with our clubs for as far as we're aware. It's a little bit of envy, but at the same time, God, it's hard work doing a Saturday and a Sunday, mate.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Like first weekend this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Next week we've got Saturday, Monday. Week after Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, there's a few boys' missus is already on the phone saying, "Oh, where's he at?" It is what it is. We love it. We're all Badgers at heart.
Absolutely, and that is the biggest issue, isn't it? The Saturday, Sunday for a lot of the season, the availability has to be the key for the national comps on a Sunday.
Yeah, 100%. Like a lot of clubs won't have strong Sunday sides because people want to do something with the weekend. We're luckily enough, we've got 13, 14 committed first team squad members that will always be strong whatever the day, but I do understand that people do have other lives than cricket.
Disgraceful.
I just don't understand it, do we, Hugh, in the slightest? No. It's not right at all. What about yourself, James? What are you looking to do yourself this year in terms of runs? What are you looking to hit?
Yeah, so probably the past couple of years I've had a real bad run. Previous to that, I had some good years, but yeah, as captain, you always want to contribute, and looking hopefully this year I'll be batting at 3 and hopefully try and drop anchor and bat some time and yeah, hopefully score anywhere. 500 plus league runs is always a decent year, so something like that and build on that. We've got plenty of match winners in and around me, so small ground up back.
I always think batting 3 is one of those ones where I don't want to be seen to open. But actually, I've got to open when he gets out first ball anyway, but more or less. It's such a difficult position.
It's a tricky one, but it's one of them I hate waiting about. Yeah, it's probably bad for our openers, me saying that, but it's a win-win. Lose an early wicket, I think.
You don't want to be in. If a number 3's had to go in early,
exactly,
things aren't going well. Yeah, let's face it. You actually don't want to be batting early full stop.
Yeah, we're really flexible, our lineup. Like, if we do get a good start, we've got floaters that can chop and change. You'll see on us, we'll bat right down to 9. We've got a lad who's hit a Premier League 100 batting at 11. So yeah, it's exciting times at Barney.
Wow. And is that something that in your league is something that is needed to win the league? You have got to be flexible throughout. It's not one of these leagues that it's 4 bowlers, 15 overs each, whatever. Yeah, there's some very fixed leagues around the country. Is yours a real flexibility?
It is, but you do get them sides where they'll heavily rely on the overseas pro and maybe a veteran dibbly-dobbler. You do get that. It's part and parcel of club cricket, but I think the sides that do tend to do well and win a lot of the cup competitions, win the leagues, they're very flexible. They have a good quartet of bowlers, 5, 6 bowlers, and batting-wise, you see them batting all the way down to 7 and 8. So makes for better cricket, I think. And I think you'll see whoever wins the league, strength and depth will show.
So you've been playing Premier League cricket yourself, James, 13 years now. You're one of the youngsters who come through. What have you seen as the biggest difference in Premier League cricket over that time?
Probably the biggest difference, I would say, is the standards got better. I think fielding's become more bigger thing in Premier League cricket. I think when I first started in the side I came into, there was a load of blokes, probably most of the side over 40, and fielding. Fielding wasn't a massive part of the game, whereas you see people training. Fielding's probably the heartbeat of Premier League cricket. I think the best fielding side's always the ones that are up the top. So that's the biggest change I've seen. Yeah,
you've still got your slow left armers. You've still got your dibbly-dobblers who take 50 wickets and no one knows how. You've got your guy who's going to do a Stewie pointer and score 247 off 120, but you've also got the guy who's going to get 50 off 170 balls. But fielding has made, I think you bang on, fielding across the leagues is just at a different level
100%,
compared to what it used to be.
You go to these like 2020 finals days in league cricket and you see some of the displays by some of the sides. It's close to professional cricket as you can get. It's that step down, isn't it? There's a lot of lads in club cricket that probably could make that next step if they really wanted to, and it's good to see. It's entertaining.
It's mirroring the professional game, isn't it? I mean, the professional game, the fielding, particularly in the last 10, 15 years, has just gone through the roof. Obviously T20 sort of triggered a big shift towards, the importance of fielding when, keeping runs down, taking wickets is potentially less important. It's just that run-saving ability. It means everything. But then in the last 10, 15 years, the athleticism has just gone through the roof. And the clips on YouTube and clips on Twitter and so forth, you see it week in, week out, these amazing bits of fielding. And you want to copy that, don't you? The kids want to copy that. I see it when I'm coaching the young lads, they're practicing this stuff. When I was young, we didn't bother, balls coming at you at 300 miles an hour, you might just let that one go, and no one's really worrying too much about it.
Not anymore. Hey, thanks for your time, James. Been great to have you along, and we're going to have a guest every week on our weekly reviews, and it'll be from leagues all over the country. Just happens to be that James is in the North Yorkshire and South Durham League, and got a pretty full set of fixtures in last week. Just one game lost. Pretty good start to the season for you guys now, and fingers crossed with the weather getting a bit warmer and us all starting to enjoy some cricket into May and June, eh, James?
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, we're underway now, and I think, you'll see hopefully some big performances from a lot of players in the NYSD coming week. Fingers crossed for some better weather, and here's the cricket season.
Great to have you on, mate.
No, a pleasure being on. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Cheers. So in terms of our all-round performers of the week then, I think, Hutch comes out top, I think, but there's some other good performers around the country there, isn't there, as well?
Yeah, well, we had I've got 5 sort of top performers that hit my criteria. We still haven't got all the leagues up and running, so it wasn't a full complement. But Ben Hutchinson at the top there, we mentioned. We've got Ian Souness, 26 runs off 30 and 6 for 50. For Formby, I think you may have got Tyler McGladdery out. You said, is that correct?
He got Tyler out. That's in a losing game. He got that, 6 for 50 and 26 against Northern. That's a decent effort still.
Yeah, well, he's feeling smug, isn't he? Everyone else is struggling. Vinod Pereira, 24, 6 for 32 for Lutterworth. Luke Smith, 29 not and 5 wickets for 33, and Sam Sharp at Kendal. 22 and 5 for 35. It's notable that the all-rounder inclusion is picking up people scoring in the 20s, but lots more 5 wickets around. So there wasn't. Runs are tough to come by, aren't they? As we heard in my game, but across all the leagues, runs are tough to come by. Unless you're Stuart Pointer.
Yeah, and Sam Sharp there for Kendal, that was another losing effort as well. We've published this week the Northern Premier review with Freddie Fallows. So if you haven't listened to that already, go and listen to Freddie talk all about the Northern Premier League, one of the top leagues in the country. The champions last year, Kendal, got off to a losing start at home to Fulwood and Broughton. Sam might have got 5 for 35, but they lost by 1 wicket. It was a stretch. They were all out for 102, Kendal, and Fulwood and Broughton 105 for 9 off 55.5 overs. I mean, that's a stretch, isn't it, to say the least? But interesting weekend there.
The Northants League kicked off this week. For some reason I thought that was kicking off a week later, but no, it's off and running. Big performance here from a young Australian lad called Isaac Melentis at Desborough, overseas lad. I think he's 22, 23. Willerton in the Perth first grade plays for. But after my heart, I do like my regional Western Australia. It's a funny place, Western Australia. There's a lot of space, and he's a regional lad, Nurragon, which is 200 odd k's east of Perth, and there's not a lot in between. It's a lot of farmland. It's dusty farmland out there. So he's from there. They produce, it'll be a small town, probably 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, something like that. Produce this lad. Yeah. He's travelled to Perth and is playing in the Perth comp. I don't know whether he's commuting back and forth every week. Yeah, so it's lovely to see a regional WA lad coming over and doing so well. He averaged 33 for them last year, and he's straight off with 100 start of this year. So, hopefully he can really kick on because he looks like a bit of a talent.
Yeah, he came up against the infamous Craig brothers. They didn't get off to the best start themselves. One got 10 and one got 35. From a bowling perspective, one got 1 wicket and one got 0. But the Craig brothers just always seem to do well, and the team that they're in always seem to do well. And Isaac Melentis got off to a great start for Desborough there, but you couldn't come up against a tougher team than Oundle in your first game of the season.
Oundle, I think, not Oundle. You look at Desborough though, very solid top order there, and just dropped away. But when you're coming up against such a strong team, it's always difficult. But actually, the Craig brothers didn't do quite as well as they normally do in that game. So, with the ball, that is.
Yeah. I'm going to take a quick run around some of the other leagues for some of the highlights that I've picked up as well. So the Bradford League got underway. And very unusually, every single game got played. And I thought, really well done to all the ground staff up in the Bradford League there. Champions Woodlands, they started off with a win. And second versus third, New Farmley played Townville, and New Farmley comfortably beat Townville, I think is the best way to put it. The highlight for New Farmley was their skipper, Alex Lilly, 54 not out, and he's not far off getting onto your list. They're 4 for 27. You know, 54 not out and 4 for 27. That's the way a skipper should start the season off, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had our friends, one or two of our friends from Cheshire in touch with me saying, how are we going to make the best of our new point system? I think they're trying to work that one out. You know, some interesting numbers around there. Grappenall 243 all out. I think they thought Windus were going to chase them down in the end, but they won there. Just
jumping back again in the Bradford League, a couple of numbers caught my eye. So Methley played Ossett, and Methley had Taylor Cornell playing for him. He's jumped around quite a few leagues, Liverpool Comp, down the Birmingham Prem. Obviously, he was with Worcestershire a couple of years ago. Didn't quite crack professional cricket, but he's some club player. So he's playing for Methley this year. Started off the season with 72. Great performance. And then also Methley, they're two lads with 4 wickets. Ben Waite, Finlay Rourke, both with 4 wickets. So that's a really nice start for them. I don't know a huge amount about the depth in that side, but certainly got some talent there. So they could be a real challenge this year.
Derbyshire League, highlight for me, Sawley coming up and bowling Cutthorpe out for 68. I mean, that was a shocker for Cutthorpe, to say the least. 29 overs bowled out. And then Sawley knocking them off after 26 overs quite comfortably for the win. You've already mentioned Belper Meadows won over at Ralston. A good win there to come up from Div 1. East Anglia, we've already mentioned. Great Witchingham. Not got off to the best of start, have they? You know, they got beat by 5 wickets by Copdock and Old Ipswichian at the weekend, and they made it look really easy chasing down the 129 that Great Witchingham had.
Quite a chaotic league already, that league. I mean, it's
very.
I mean, I know Great Witchingham lost 2 on the bounce, but there's only 2 teams won 2, and they weren't the top teams from last year. So it's I think that one, as anybody's guessed, that league. I think I wouldn't be panicking if I was Great Witchingham early doors. It's everyone. Most people have won 1, lost 1. Fair few lost 2, and so forth. So it's going to take a while to shake out. It might be in the summer when they shift to time cricket that it really starts to settle down. Yeah, but Jake Weatherald, obviously a very famous Aussie T20 player. He's come into Great Witchingham 27 off 15. So he just went from the start. But I don't know whether the wicket's it's quite a 27 or 15 wicket. And so if he could have kept going for a bit longer, then I think they would have cruised that. But so to get him out was a big wicket, and no Monty this week and no Phil Mustard either. So they weren't at potentially full strength. So interesting. They're going to be an interesting one to watch. Great Witchingham. I think they're going to change week in, week out, and it's whether their sort of stalwarts can hold them together. Yeah, all about availability, as we always know. Looking at Lancashire very quickly. Norden, 239 for 9, beating Todmorden. By far the highest score in the league last weekend on the Sunday. We had a couple of abandoned matches, didn't even get started. But then when you look at Burnley and Church and Oswald, 98 and 99, Lower House, 66 all out, Enfield, 95, Littleborough, 92. Low scoring league that weekend, wasn't it, at Lancashire? Yeah. Shout out to Clitheroe, first of all, for their win. They beat Lower House. A very solid win. Ali Ross, 101 off 123 balls. But a second, more important shout out, because my niece's son has just started All-Stars cricket at Clitheroe Cricket Club, and I suspect there's not a better club in the area for him to get going with that. So I had a lovely picture in my WhatsApp this week of him in his gear. So so chuffed there. So good on them for running that. And hopefully you can be a future Premier League player for you. More than happy to back that one and say, without a shadow, one of the best junior setups there. You only have to look at their social media, what they've been doing over the last couple of months preparing for it. They do some really good stuff at Clitheroe when it comes to the juniors. So good on them. A bit nice to keep it in the family there for you. Wow, that's it. Future Premier League star for them. I think he's 6. So there we go. Quickly jumping around, as I say, Leicester, Rothley Park won again. Kibworth won again. You can just start to see that's one of the few leagues I've started to see a bit of a pattern already. We're only 2 weeks in, and is 2 weeks a pattern? Probably not, but there's definitely some of the old faces starting to, the cream rising to the top as usual there. I think. Did anyone stand out in the Leicester League for you? Yeah, Josh Cobb jumping out, as we've mentioned earlier on, and it's how much they can get out of him before the T20 blast starts, isn't it? He's absolutely dominating. If he can keep that run going, they'll be very, very strong right up until then. Yeah. And it's whether they can either replace him or or hold things together whilst he's earning his crust for Worcestershire, I think, isn't it?
In the Lincolnshire League, Lindham, 2 wins back-to-back. Couple of cancelled games around there again.
Yeah, in the Links Prem, Grantham again doing well. Again, they were going to be a bit of a dark horse, shall we say, in that league. Weren't quite sure what was going to happen, but they've started very, very strong, and hopefully they can keep it going together. We've got Kindell Hadir, who they get 50 odd last week, already started the season like a train. If you look at his stats there for Grantham, 78 in a Sunday game, 17 in the first game, 97 in the next Sunday game, and 101 not out in the Premier League. So that's a cracking start for him. I think he's a Notts prospect, isn't he? He looks vital to them, and he's winning them games.
Player definitely to keep an eye on. In the Notts League, you talked about Notts there. Cockney breezed, I think is the best way to describe, to their second win, bowling Plumtree all out for 58. But Cavaliers and Carrington got off to a start. Good win away at Hucknall, which was a game that George Platherwick was playing for Hucknall. Cavs had Uman Amin scoring 73 and Adil Shafiq scoring 81. And having missed out the previous week, I think they'll be pleased to get themselves away with a good win over at Hucknall there. Anything else in the Notts League that you've picked up at all?
Plumtree struggling, and Attenborough did pretty well. We were thinking Attenborough might struggle, but actually, they lost, but they put a good total up against Papawick and nearly got there. So Papawick just sneaked it with 2 wickets left. Club Radcliffe losing to Kimberley. Lived in Radcliffe and Kimberley, so a bit of a home derby for me there, but Kimberley are always strong, and they breezed that. Radcliffe bowled out for 130 and Kimberley got it off 17 overs. So, pretty good. Westbridge Fordians, they've come up and put a win on the board. So they looked a bit in trouble last week with a tough start, and with Ben Martindale, so the only guy getting runs. Well, everyone seems to have contributed here. It's a good team performance from them this week. So that'll settle the nerves there, and a big win against Notts and Arnold.
But up in Yorkshire, I'm going to start in the Yorkshire South League, which is the closest to where we are. And unfortunately, only 2 games got to play in that game. Cleethorpes, Cawthorne, Doncaster, Appleby, Frodingham. Well done, guys, for getting the games on. There was absolutely nothing going on in that league. Everything was cancelled left, right and centre, unfortunately, because of the weather. But moving north in the Yorkshire Premier League North, we spoke to James Finch at Woodhouse Grange a few weeks ago. They got off to a losing start against Hull Zingari. I think he highlighted them as a potential team with 1 or 2 coming through, didn't he?
Yeah, it's also an interesting one because Woodhouse Grange's second team beat Hull Zingari's first team in the second division last year, won the championship last year. So, but Hull Zingari got promoted, obviously, on the back of that, and then they've gone and knocked over the first team. So that's an interesting result and a great start for Hull Zingari there. They've jumped out the gate quickly. So hopefully they can keep that run going. Yeah,
and obviously in that league we've got York at home to Easingwold. York had a massive performance between Will Frayne and Braden Shaper. It was 210 runs they put on for the second wicket. And then obviously Braden actually carried his bat, 104 off, we've already mentioned, leaving Easingwold chasing 318. You're struggling from the start there, aren't you?
Yeah, there's 2 absolute class players there, got first class experience all over that, and Braden Shaper was one of the best players in the country last year, so they're just a very strong team, and they're going to be tough to beat. They are, and they just heads up to a bowler there. They do have a guy called Dave Brent, who is the bowler who took 4 wickets for them. It does say Dave, and I'm presuming he makes sure it does say Dave Brent on Play Cricket, and I'm probably going to get in trouble with York now instead of David Brent, but good on him, mate. 4 wickets to start the season off. You're always going to be happy with that. And a good win for York at home in the Yorkshire North Premier League there. Unfortunately, Sesse's game got cancelled. We were looking forward to seeing how they got on, because obviously they were highlighted as potential one to watch as well. And Driffield Town, who put some beautiful pictures on of what their ground looked like on Friday. Literally postcard perfect, but not good enough to win. No, they scored 161 all out, and Harrogate got them with 1 wicket. Yeah. So 9-wicket defeat, with Henry Thompson scoring 75 not out and Isaac Light scoring 61 not out for Harrogate. Big win that over at Driffield, I think. Well, they've obviously done too good a job with the deck, haven't they? Driffield didn't quite put it together, and Harrogate have cruised it. So, yeah, good on them. Our mate Noah Kelly, 13 off 32. I don't think he's been out in second team cricket yet this year, but he's first outing there, not quite as he would have liked, but he'll come good very, very quickly, and he'll be very positive about that anyway. But yeah, a great result for Harrogate.
Yeah, I'm going to say Noah's probably a bit fed up having sat around for 4 days in a second 11 game last week and absolutely nothing happening and the weather being bloody awful.
Yeah, well, didn't even get a bat, did he? So did he? He probably got on the field briefly, but yeah, not good.
Yeah, he probably got on the field, got some chilblains, and then got off.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, people want to be professional cricketers. It's a strange game, isn't it? Where you sit around for 4 days and you can't even do anything. It's a funny game, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes the 1 day /T20/50 over game look sensible, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely, without a shadow. Hey, we've done an absolute whistle-stop tour, as we're going to try and do every week, around some of the highlights of the leagues. It's going to get more difficult for us here. We've got 32 leagues on the go in a couple of weeks' time. And we'd like to think that we've got all the time in the world to talk about these things, but people just get bored of our voices, I think.
Well, and I get bored of mine. Yeah, I mean, apologies to anybody we've missed, big performances we've missed. I think we'll improve. We'll work out ways of nailing down to the key performances. We do our best, and hopefully, as we'll develop our tools and techniques through the season and really polish it up. It's quite hard work jumping between all the different games going on, but we'll do our best.
Absolutely. But great to speak again, Q, and we'll catch you up next week.
Catch you up.
Thanks for listening to the Premier League Cricket Show. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes and stay updated on all the latest news, views and discussions from around the Cricket's Premier Leagues. And be sure to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram @TPL Cricket Show on both. Join the conversation, share your thoughts and connect with us and your fellow Premier League cricket fans. And hey, if you enjoyed the show, why not show us some love? Leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast platform, as it helps other potential listeners to find us when they're searching for cricketing podcasts. Thanks again for being part of the Premier League Cricket Show family, and until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.